So, when you watch Jean Grey step into someone's mind, you might be thinking, that's cool. But maybe you should think again. She starts at 33 feet, one person at a time. But the real problem is what happens when everyone gets the power. Not one telepath, 7 billion. Your thoughts are now public property. So welcome to the last day of privacy. Now, this isn't about superheroes. It's about distance. Right now, there is a wall between your brain and the world. You can think anything, hate your boss, desire the stranger on the train, remember the worst thing you did at 14, taboo desires that you can't even tell your therapist about unless she's into that sort of thing.
This is a privilege, O leader of the world.
And nobody knows. Psychologists call this the boundary of self. Daniel Wegner at Harvard spent decades studying what happens when we try to break that boundary. He ran the famous white bear experiments. He told people not to think about a white bear. And of course, they couldn't stop thinking about it. That's ironic process theory. The harder you try to hide a thought, the louder it gets. It's like when someone says, "Don't look down," and your eyes immediately go to the floor. Wegner basically proved we're all terrible at keeping secrets from ourselves. But now, imagine there is no hiding at all. Researchers at Queen's University in Canada put people in brain scanners in 2020 and tracked something they called thought worms. Little patterns of brain activity that fire every time a new idea starts. They found the average person has more than 6,000 thoughts per day. That's 6,000 chances to ruin your life, because every single one can be heard. That's basically one embarrassing thought every 14 seconds. You can't even make it through a handshake without your brain doing something unforgivable. So your relationship is the first thing that dies. Your partner sits across from you at dinner and asks how your day was. You say it was fine, but you thought about your ex today. Not because you want them back. Your brain went there for 3 seconds. Your partner hears it. They don't hear the context. They don't hear the part where you chose them. They hear the 3 seconds, and dinner is over. You can't comfort someone by saying, "It's going to be okay," when they can hear you thinking, "I have no idea if it's going to be okay." Bella DePaulo at the University of California, Santa Barbara studied everyday lying for years. She found the average American tells 1 to 2 lies per day. They're not evil lies. They're social glue. "You look great." "I'm fine." "I love this gift." These lies are how we keep the machinery of society from grinding against itself. Take them away, and the workplace becomes a horror film. Your boss asks if you respect them. You say yes, but you spent the entire meeting thinking about how you do their job better, how much they make, and whether anyone would notice if they just disappeared. And now they know. Promotion is over. Your career is now a hostage negotiation. Your coworker smiles at you. You smile back. But you ranked their outfit against your ex's. They heard it too. So, within a week, nobody makes eye contact. Within a month, restaurants are empty. Why go on a date when your date can hear you comparing their face to your ex's in real time? Flirting dies immediately because she can hear you rating her body while you're trying to make eye contact. She can hear you panicking that you said the wrong thing while you're still saying it. She can hear you comparing her to your ex mid-sentence. And she can hear that you have no idea what her job is, even though she told you twice. Honesty doesn't build connection. It just exposes how little attention you were paying. But it gets worse. We don't just lose privacy, we lose language itself. Words exist for a reason. They filter the mess. Your mind is not a tidy room. It's a storm of half-formed impulses that contradict each other. 1 second, you're thinking about helping an old lady cross the street. The next second, you're imagining what she'd look like as a walrus. That's just how brains work. Language is the process of taking that storm and making it human. But without the gap, there is no need for words. We stop speaking, then we stop thinking in sentences. Consciousness becomes raw impulse. Architecture changes because walls don't matter anymore. Mental barriers do. People who can build walls in their minds become the new wealthy class. They can negotiate. They can plot. Everyone else is naked. But trust doesn't exist as a concept. You can't trust someone when verification is instant and absolute. And there is something darker. We start editing our own thoughts in real time. We police ourselves before we think. The mind becomes a sanitized room. No ugly thoughts, no strange ones, no creative ones. Because creativity starts with something unacceptable. A wrong idea that you fix later. But if everyone hears the wrong idea, you stop having them. Basically, every brainstorming session becomes a war crimes tribunal. So now, a writer named A.J. Jacobs actually tried this. He ran a radical honesty experiment where he said exactly what he thought for months. He did it without a filter or any white lies. The results were not comfortable. Some of his relationships ended because they could not handle the real version of him, but the ones that survived were different. He described it as finally being in the room after decades of watching through glass. That sounds beautiful until you remember he chose to do this. Nobody forced him to tell his wife's friends that he didn't want to see them again. In a world where everyone can read minds, you don't get to choose. There is an anime called Kino's Journey that explored exactly this. In the first episode, a technologically advanced country invented telepathy because they believed all human pain came from miscommunication. They thought if everyone understood each other perfectly, they would stop hurting each other. It sounded good in theory. In reality, knowing everyone's thoughts drove the citizens insane. They could not escape the negative noise of other people, so they realized their telepathy was distance-based. The only solution was to live alone. They went into total self-isolation. Machines now run the empty cities. The country is dying because nobody can stand to be near anyone else. That is the dark counterexample. Total understanding does not produce utopia. It produces loneliness. It's like finally seeing how the sausage is made, except the sausage is your neighbor's inner monologue, and it's mostly him judging your lawn. But here is the twist. Clinical psychologists know that every human brain generates intrusive thoughts. The impulse to swerve into traffic, the image of punching your mother, the sexual thought about the person you shouldn't be thinking about. None of it means you want to do it. It's static. But in a telepathic world, that static is a confession. Your neighbor hears you imagine their kid falling off a balcony. You were never going to touch the kid, but now you're explaining it to the police. Good luck with that. So either we forgive everyone for everything, or we imprison everyone for thought crime. There is no middle. But the deeper twist is this. The people who seem the worst are the most honest. Their minds are loud and messy and real. The villains are the people with quiet minds, the ones who learn to kill their own thoughts before they form. They walk through the world lobotomized, and society rewards them for it. The most dangerous person in a telepathic world isn't the criminal. It's the boring one, the empty one, the one who passes every scan because there's nothing inside to catch. And they are the only ones who can get hired, the only ones who can marry, the only ones who can lead. Anita Kelly at the University of Notre Dame ran a 10-week study where she made one group stop telling lies. Just 3 fewer lies per week. At the end, that group reported better mental health, fewer physical complaints, and better relationships. Honesty, the data shows, is a health practice, but only when it is chosen. Forced honesty is not health. It is surveillance. You don't get bonus points for being honest at gunpoint. The distance between your thoughts and your words is not a flaw. It is the place where civilization lives. You think something cruel. Then You decide not to say it. That second step is empathy. That second step is growth. Without the gap, there is no growth. There is only performance. Your unfiltered mind is not your soul. It is a storm. It is weather. The person you are is the one who chooses which thoughts to voice and which to let pass. But freedom is only freedom if you can close the door. The mind needs a door, not because we have something to hide, but because we need a place to become something better than our first impulse. Privacy is the room where we sort ourselves out. Take it away, and we don't become transparent. We become terrified, or worse, we become blank. So drop a comment, be honest. What's the one thought you're glad nobody can hear? Not your darkest secret, just the dumb, ugly, random noise your brain made today. The thing that means nothing but would end everything if it was public.